My beloved child. From the very first second you opened this message, something shifted quietly in the unseen space around you. There is a reason this found you now, not earlier, not later. Someone, very close to your heart, carries your presence with them every single day, even when the world sees them smiling, working, pretending everything is normal. They replay moments with you in silence. They remember your voice at unexpected hours. They pause in the middle of ordinary tasks because your name suddenly echoes inside them. What you do not realize yet is that their thoughts about you are not casual or passing. They are intense, constant, and heavy with emotions they have never spoken aloud. And the truth about why they keep holding this inside is far deeper than you imagine. Listen carefully, because this is where things become serious. This person does not just think of you in moments of loneliness. They think of you when something good happens and you are not there to see it. They think of you when something goes wrong and you are not the one they can reach out to. They imagine conversations with you that never happened. They rehearse words they never sent. There are nights when they lie awake, staring at the ceiling, asking themselves if you would understand the real reason behind their silence. They are afraid of changing the balance that exists now, yet equally afraid of losing you forever. This inner conflict is tearing them apart quietly, and the weight of it is growing heavier with each passing day. What makes this even more powerful is what they are hiding behind their calm behavior. On the outside, they appear composed, controlled, and emotionally distant. On the inside, they are constantly questioning their own choices. They wonder if staying silent is protecting you or hurting you. They wonder if speaking up would bring relief or chaos. There is a deep fear rooted inside them, a fear that if you truly knew how much space you occupy in their heart, everything would change instantly. They believe that once you see the truth, there will be no turning back. And that is exactly why they hesitate. They are standing at the edge of a decision that could alter both of your lives permanently. Now here is the part most people never talk about. This person has already come very close to revealing everything. More than once, they have almost sent the message. More than once, they have typed your name, stared at the screen, and erased it all. Not because their feelings are weak, but because they are overwhelming. They are afraid that the depth of what they feel might shock you. They are afraid that you might see them differently. They are afraid that you might walk away if the truth comes out all at once. So they choose silence, even though it hurts them far more than it hurts you. Every day they delay, the pressure builds, and the desire to finally speak grows stronger. This is not just about unspoken feelings. It is about timing, courage, and a truth that refuses to stay buried forever. Something is approaching, a moment that will force them to confront their fear. A moment where holding everything inside will no longer be possible. When that moment arrives, the connection between you will shift in a way you cannot yet predict. The signs are already forming. The emotional distance. The sudden attention. The quiet watching from afar. None of it is accidental. You were meant to sense this before it happens, because when the truth finally surfaces, you will understand why everything unfolded exactly this way. My beloved child. There is something unfolding beneath the surface that you have not fully noticed yet, and it revolves around the quiet intensity of this person's inner world. While days pass and conversations remain ordinary or distant, their mind is constantly returning to you with a sense of urgency they cannot silence. They catch themselves rereading old messages, remembering expressions on your face, recalling moments that seemed small at the time but now feel enormous. What they feel is not confusion anymore. It is clarity mixed with fear. They know exactly what you mean to them, and that realization has reached a point where it is no longer gentle. It presses on their chest. It follows them into crowded rooms and lonely nights alike. They are beginning to understand that pretending nothing is happening is no longer protecting anyone. Here is what changes everything. This person has started to notice signs, patterns, and coincidences that keep pointing back to you. Songs appear at the right moment. Conversations with others feel empty. Achievements feel incomplete. Even distractions fail to work. The more they try to move on, the stronger the pull becomes. Deep inside, they are realizing that their connection with you is not something that can be replaced or ignored. It is not based on convenience or habit. It is rooted in something far more personal and emotional. This realization scares them because it demands action. And action means risk. It means stepping into the unknown and accepting whatever response comes from you, even if it is not what they hope for. What you may not see yet is that they are preparing themselves. Quietly. Internally. They are replaying every possible outcome. They imagine you being surprised. They imagine you asking questions. They imagine moments of silence after the truth is revealed. They are trying to strengthen themselves emotionally so they do not retreat again at the last second. This preparation is exhausting them, but it is also empowering them. For the first time, they are beginning to feel that staying silent might be more painful than being honest. That shift is critical. Once that balance tips, there is no return to the old distance. Something has to give. There is also a reason this connection feels unfinished to you. Even if you cannot explain it logically, you sense an unresolved tension. That feeling is real. It exists because this person is emotionally connected to you in ways that have never been expressed openly. Energy does not disappear when words are withheld. It builds. It waits. It looks for release. And that release is getting closer. They are reaching a point where their emotions will naturally surface through actions, behavior, or words, even if they try to control it. You may notice sudden honesty, unexpected vulnerability, or a moment where they see you and cannot hide what they feel anymore. This is not a coincidence, and it is not temporary. The reason this matters now is because the next step will redefine how you both see each other. Once the truth begins to emerge, the connection will no longer exist in the shadows. It will demand acknowledgement. Whether that leads to closeness, clarity, or a powerful turning point, it will not leave you unchanged. Pay attention to the shifts. Pay attention to their eyes, their pauses, their sudden seriousness. The story between you is approaching a moment that cannot be delayed much longer, and when it arrives, you will finally understand why they were always thinking of you, even when they said nothing at all. My beloved child. Something subtle has already shifted, even if neither of you has named it yet. The way they look at you has changed. The way they pause before responding has meaning now. Silence is no longer empty for them. It is full of words waiting to be released. They are standing at a point where pretending feels heavier than truth. Inside their mind, they are replaying a single question again and again, wondering how long they can keep carrying this alone. The realization has settled in them deeply that their thoughts of you are not temporary emotions. They are not passing feelings triggered by circumstances. They are rooted, steady, and persistent. And once a feeling reaches this depth, it demands recognition, whether spoken or not. There is something else you need to understand. This person has been observing you quietly, not in a careless way, but with emotional attention. They notice your mood changes. They notice when you pull back and when you open up. They sense when you are confused, even if you say nothing. What affects you affects them more than they are willing to admit. When you are distant, they feel it as a loss. When you are present, they feel grounded. This emotional mirroring is not accidental. It happens when someone's inner world has become tied to another person's presence. They are no longer thinking about whether they feel something. They are thinking about what happens if they lose the chance to say it. At this stage, fear has taken a different shape. Earlier, they were afraid of speaking. Now, they are afraid of waiting too long. They worry that time might change things irreversibly. They worry that you might move forward without knowing what they carry inside. This fear is pushing them closer to a moment of honesty. You may notice restlessness in them. A seriousness that appears without warning. Moments where they almost say something important and then stop. These are signs of someone standing at the edge of an emotional confession, trying to gather the strength to step forward without knowing what the ground will feel like beneath them. What makes this moment powerful is that it is not driven by impulse. It is driven by accumulation. Every day they stayed silent added weight. Every time they chose distance, the feeling grew stronger. Every time they told themselves they would wait for a better moment, the urgency increased. They are now reaching a point where the truth is no longer something they can control completely. It wants to surface. It wants to be known. Whether through words, actions, or an undeniable shift in behavior, something is preparing to come into the open. And when it does, it will not be small or casual. It will carry the full weight of everything they have been holding back. This is why your role matters more than you realize. The energy between you is responsive. It reacts to awareness. As this person gathers courage, they are also sensing whether it is safe to be honest with you. Not perfect. Not guaranteed. Just safe enough to try. When the moment arrives, it will feel intense but strangely natural, as if something long overdue is finally happening. This is not the end of a story. It is the point where the story finally stops hiding. And when that happens, you will understand why they were always thinking of you, even when silence was the only thing they could offer. My beloved child. The moment they have been avoiding is no longer distant. It is approaching quietly, disguised as an ordinary interaction, an unexpected pause, or a simple question that carries far more weight than it should. They can feel it coming. Their body reacts before their mind does. Their heart races when your name appears. Their focus shifts when you enter the room, even virtually. This is what happens when emotions outgrow the space they were hidden in. The truth begins to press outward, searching for release. And the closer it gets, the harder it becomes for them to maintain the version of themselves you are used to seeing. They are now imagining a future that includes honesty instead of restraint. Not because it feels safe, but because it feels necessary. They are realizing that holding everything inside has started to affect how they show up in life. They feel distracted, incomplete, split between what they present and what they feel. You have become the reference point they measure everything against. Decisions feel heavier. Choices feel more permanent. They are no longer asking themselves if they should speak. They are asking when. That shift is subtle, but it is powerful. It means silence is losing its grip, and truth is gaining momentum. There is a quiet bravery forming inside them. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just steady. It comes from understanding that even if the outcome is uncertain, continuing this way is no longer sustainable. They are preparing to let go of control. To accept that once the truth is out, they cannot take it back. This is terrifying for them, because they value the connection they already have with you. But it is also freeing, because pretending has become a heavier burden than vulnerability. They are beginning to see that honesty, even if it changes things, might finally bring relief. You may feel this shift before it happens. A sense of anticipation without explanation. A feeling that something is about to be said. Pay attention to moments when the air feels thicker between you. When conversations slow down. When they hesitate, then look at you differently. These are not random behaviors. They are signs of someone standing at the edge of a truth they have carried alone for too long. They are trying to read you, to sense whether you are ready to hear what they are struggling to say. This is where everything begins to realign. Once the truth starts moving, it does not stop halfway. Even if it comes out slowly, it will come out honestly. And when it does, you will understand that all the silence, all the distance, all the restraint had a single purpose. To protect something they were not ready to risk until now. The connection between you has reached a point where it can no longer remain unspoken. Something is about to change, and when it does, you will finally see why they held you in their thoughts for so long, waiting for the moment when silence would no longer be enough. My beloved child. The silence between you is no longer neutral. It carries intention now. It carries meaning. They feel it every time there is a pause that lasts a second too long. They feel it when your name enters their thoughts without warning and refuses to leave. This is the stage where emotions stop asking for permission. They begin to shape reality on their own. The person thinking of you has reached a point where their inner truth is louder than their fear. They are no longer wondering if you matter to them. They are confronting the reality that you have already become part of their emotional identity, and denying it has started to feel like self-betrayal. What is powerful here is not what they feel, but what they are realizing about themselves because of you. You have triggered a depth in them they did not expect to access. You made them question patterns they thought were permanent. You made them aware of how carefully they have been guarding their heart. This is why their feelings feel dangerous to them. Not because of you, but because once they speak, they cannot return to who they were before. They know that honesty will rearrange priorities. It will demand clarity. And it will force them to stand behind their emotions instead of hiding behind timing or circumstance. Right now, they are experiencing emotional pressure that comes from holding two realities at once. One reality where everything stays the same and nothing is risked. Another reality where the truth is spoken and everything changes. They are weighing both futures constantly. In one, they keep you close but distant. In the other, they risk closeness becoming real. What is tipping the scale is the exhaustion of pretending. They are tired of acting unaffected. Tired of swallowing words. Tired of carrying feelings that have nowhere to go. This fatigue is turning into resolve, and resolve always leads to action. You may soon notice a shift that feels sudden but is actually the result of long internal struggle. A direct question. An unexpected honesty. A moment where they choose presence over avoidance. This will not be dramatic. It will be sincere. And sincerity carries weight. When they finally allow themselves to speak, even partially, it will feel like a release they have needed for a long time. The energy between you will change instantly, because truth has a way of doing that. It clarifies. It grounds. It removes the confusion silence creates. This is the point where awareness matters. When the truth begins to surface, it will test both of you. Not to break the connection, but to define it. Whatever happens next will not be based on imagination anymore. It will be based on reality. And that reality exists because someone has been thinking of you deeply, consistently, and honestly, even when they did not know how to show it. The moment that truth becomes visible, the connection will step out of the shadows, and nothing between you will ever feel undefined again. My beloved child. The space between thought and action is narrowing now, and they can feel it in ways they never expected. What once felt controllable has become restless. They find themselves replaying moments where they could have spoken, wondering why silence felt safer then. Now, silence feels heavy, almost dishonest. They are starting to understand that what they are holding inside is not just emotion, it is intention waiting for courage. Every interaction with you strengthens that realization. Every shared glance, every unfinished sentence, every pause adds pressure to a truth that wants to breathe. There is an internal promise forming inside them, even if they have not named it yet. A promise that they will not let this connection fade into regret. They are imagining what it would feel like to finally be seen for who they truly are, instead of who they have been pretending to be. You are at the center of that vision. They see you not as a fantasy, but as a real presence capable of understanding, even if the response is uncertain. That is what gives them strength. The idea that honesty, once spoken, will at least free them from the weight of wondering what could have been. They are also becoming aware that timing is not something they can perfect. There will never be a flawless moment. There will only be a brave one. This realization is unsettling but liberating. It shifts responsibility from circumstances to choice. And they are choosing to stop waiting for signs that guarantee safety. Instead, they are listening to the steady voice inside them that keeps repeating your name with quiet determination. This is the voice that grows louder when someone means more than comfort or familiarity. It speaks when something real is at stake. You might sense this before it happens. A subtle seriousness. A deeper focus. A look that lingers longer than usual. These are not accidents. They are reflections of someone gathering themselves emotionally, preparing to step out of restraint and into truth. When the moment arrives, it will not feel rushed. It will feel inevitable. As if everything leading up to it was quietly arranging itself behind the scenes. This is not about rushing toward an ending. It is about crossing a threshold. Once crossed, the connection between you will no longer exist in uncertainty. Whatever follows will be honest, grounded, and real. And that alone changes everything. The reason they have been thinking of you constantly is because you represent something they can no longer ignore. A truth that has waited patiently. A truth that is finally ready to be acknowledged. My beloved child. What they are feeling now is not excitement or fantasy. It is gravity. A pull that does not ask, but claims attention without permission. They wake up with you already present in their thoughts, and they fall asleep replaying moments that never had an ending. This is the stage where emotion becomes truth instead of possibility. They are no longer imagining what it would be like to speak. They are imagining what it would be like if they never did. And that thought is beginning to feel unbearable. Regret has started to look more frightening than vulnerability. Something important is happening inside them that you cannot see yet. They are redefining what courage means. It no longer feels like doing something dramatic. It feels like choosing honesty even if their voice shakes. They are realizing that silence has been a form of self-protection, but it has also been a form of distance. And distance is slowly becoming the one thing they can no longer tolerate. They want to be known. Not admired. Not guessed. Known. And that desire has your name written all over it. This is also where the emotional weight shifts toward you, even if you are unaware of it. They are starting to believe that you deserve the truth, not fragments or hints. They are questioning whether keeping you in the dark has been fair. This thought is changing how they see you. Not as someone to protect from truth, but as someone strong enough to receive it. That realization removes one of their last excuses for staying silent. When someone reaches this point, the truth does not stay hidden much longer. You may feel moments of intensity without context. A sudden seriousness in their tone. A pause that feels intentional. A look that carries more than words. These are not accidents. These are emotional rehearsals. They are testing what it feels like to be closer to honesty. To stand nearer to the edge without stepping back. Every time they do this, their fear weakens and their resolve strengthens. Understand this clearly. When they finally speak, it will not be because they are sure of the outcome. It will be because they are sure of the feeling. And feelings that reach this depth do not fade quietly. They transform situations. They redefine connections. The reason they have always been thinking of you is because you are not just part of their thoughts anymore. You are part of the decision they are about to make.